Today's case examines the brutal double homicide of a young couple in a quiet suburban neighborhood. The case was unusual, with a friend claiming to overhear the start of the attack over the phone.
County 911.
Oh my God, we just called the police here.
I'm longing for...
Yes, we need a rescue crossing. You gotta back over the bed.
And as the investigation unfolded, it seemed that many of those closest to the couple were unwilling to share what they knew with police.
Did he sound like he was out of breath?
No.
Did he sound like he was scared or nervous?
No.
Did he sound like he knew them people?
That's why I said I think that whoever did it, he knew.
It would take nearly a year for investigators to sift through the web of lies and half-truths before an arrest could be made. Yet 10 years later, questions remain. Do police really have their killer? And who else was involved? This is the disturbing case of Johnny Clarke and Lisa Straub. Before we start, we would like to send our deepest sympathies to the loved ones of Johnny Clarke and Lisa Straub, who fell victim to the abominable acts described in this case. It was midwinter in Toledo, Ohio. Snow covered the streets of the quiet suburban neighborhood of Holland. Residents had long since turned in for the night, but at 2161 Longacre Lane, a nightmare was unfolding. Officers arrived at the house on Longacre Lane sometime just before 2 a.m. They found there were lights on inside the home, but no one was answering the door. A search of the property revealed nothing suspicious, and with no probable cause to break into the home, they left. 2161 Longacre Lane was the home of Jeff and Mary Beth Straub. 3 days earlier, the couple had left for a cruise to celebrate their 25th wedding anniversary, leaving their daughter, 20-year-old Lisa Straub, and her boyfriend, Johnny Clarke, age 21, in charge of the house. Lisa and Johnny had been dating off and on since the summer of 2009. For the first time, the pair had rented an apartment in Toledo. But with Johnny attending barber school and Lisa working part-time at TGI Fridays while attending nursing college, money was tight. In December 2010, Lisa's parents agreed to let the couple move back into the family home. With their extended vacation coming up, it seemed like an arrangement that would benefit everyone. Just 3 days after the Straubs left for their cruise, Johnny's mother, May T., would place the first of 4 911 calls made that evening.
Sheriff's office.
Listen, ma'am, I am a concerned mother. Okay, 4 cop cars were already out at this residence. They're not there, and her car is in the driveway. I want to know where my son's at.
Okay.
I want to know where my son and his girlfriend are at. I want to know if they got abducted by whoever tried to assault them and rob them. And it's pretty funny that this girl named Tiffany, which is there right now by the residence, waits 2 hours to call somebody and report this.
Okay. Well, like I said, we were out there. There was nothing going on there.
Okay, where is my son and his girlfriend and her purse in the driveway?
How would I know that, ma'am?
I need to report my son missing. I have a feeling you set up my son. My son is missing. He's nowhere to be found.
Officers returned to the house where they found several people waiting at the property. Johnny's parents, May T. and Johnny Clarke, May T.'s cousin, and Tiffany, the friend who had alerted Johnny's mother to the concerning phone call. Police searched the property for a second time. Blinds and shutters prevented them from seeing inside the house, and once again, they left. The Clarkes now searched the premises themselves. At the back of the house, Mr. Clarke spotted a window containing partially opened blinds. He hoisted Métis' cousin up to peer through the slats.
Oh my God. You need to get the police out to Longacre Lane. My son is in the basement tied up with his house. I just saw him through the window. The police were out here earlier and did absolutely nothing. Both cell phones are on the ground and we can see the people. Him and his girlfriend are tied up in the basement.
Okay, all right. right, we'll get them out there.
Get the cops out here! I told them earlier!
Honey, ma'am, you need to calm down. We'll get them out there. But yelling at me is unconscious.
They're unconscious, ma'am!
Oh, okay, you said they're unconscious?
Yes!
Okay, all right.
Before officers could arrive, Mr. Clarke kicked in the front door. On the floor of the kitchen, he found Johnny and Lisa laying on the floor with their hands bound with duct tape and plastic bags over their head. He ripped open the bags only to find that his son and Lisa were dead. Detective Jeff Kozak, who later would lead the investigation, was the first on the scene. Soon it would be swarmed with police and forensic experts. Lisa and Johnny lay on their backs on the kitchen floor. Both their hands and Johnny's ankles had been bound with black duct tape. Plastic grocery bags had been placed over their heads and secured around their necks with duct tape. Their deaths would later be recorded as due to strangulation from the duct tape and asphyxiation. Moving room by room, investigators documented the crime scene. Downstairs, a plant pot and a clock had been knocked over. Cabinets lay open. Broken pieces of a cell phone were scattered across the floor, and a torn photo of the couple was left in the sunroom. The door between the garage and the kitchen showed signs of bowing at the deadbolt. Upstairs had been ransacked, the master bedroom in particular. Dresser drawers were open and emptied, and the mattress was pushed off of the box spring. Clothes had been flung around the walk-in closet, and a dresser pushed forward. A panel behind the dresser led to a crawl space that had been opened, and a hole had been made in the drywall. The lock on Lisa's bedroom door showed inward impact damage. If this was a botched robbery, it was a strange one. 6 envelopes containing 4.6 million in Iraqi dinars was left discarded, the equivalent of about $4,500. Other valuables, including laptops and jewelry, were also untouched. Only 2 $20 bills were taken from the house. Clearly, the perpetrators had been looking for something specific. Police began piecing together a picture of what had happened. The perpetrators, they believed, had entered the house via the garage door. Johnny and Lisa had likely spotted them and attempted to block them from entering the house, hence the damage to the internal door. At some point, Lisa had likely fled and locked herself in her bedroom before the door had been forced inward. Police concluded that more than one perpetrator must have been involved. The timing of the attack suggested they knew the Straubs were away and therefore had some connection to the couple. Other clues suggested the attack had been planned. The duct tape had been brought to the house, as well as the plastic bags. And then there was the unusual MO. These murders would have taken time to execute. They smacked to police of something personal. On March 1st, police announced at their press conference their belief that Johnny and Lisa had been specifically targeted. News of the double homicide in this suburban neighborhood made national headlines. Police came under fire by journalists for failing to enter the home earlier.
Joey Jackson, do you realize that the police, in coming there 2 different times, the first time they stayed, I think, 11 minutes, the second time they came 30 minutes, they knew that the 911 call said that the son had said, "Who are you? Why are you here?" And it's the family that had to find the bodies with the plastic bags over the heads?
This is a horrific circumstance, by all means, Gene. Listen, in terms of probable cause or objective standard, whatever you want to call it, there's more than ample here. You have a phone call to 911 repeatedly by the mother. You have the girl who's describing the friend who's saying it's ransacked, the lights are on, you have the car there, and they're not there. It's problematic. And even if you say there was no objective, credible reason or probable cause, Gene, what about an exigent circumstance? Something needed to be done. Something needed to be done immediately, and it wasn't done, and it's unfortunate. And I hate to besmirch the character of our members in blue. They protect us, they keep us safe, but something is amiss.
Reporters and internet sleuths, meanwhile, went into overdrive, speculating over motives and digging into the backgrounds of everyone involved. And there was plenty of dirt to uncover. Both Johnny and Lisa had grown up in loving homes. They had been well-adjusted and they were athletic teens who were liked by all of their peers. But teenage partying had turned into regular drug use, and by 2011, both were habitual users of pharmaceutical painkillers. At 18, Johnny had spent a year in jail for robbing two men at gunpoint. Former friends had distanced themselves. Their social circle had come to include some seriously shady characters, many with long rap sheets for drug and violence-related crimes. Police now depended on this community for leads on the couple's killers. Of the numerous items taken from the house, only small samples of DNA evidence had been recovered. These had been lifted from the duct tape binding Johnny, the inside of Johnny's pockets, Johnny's cell phone, and a half a dozen cigarette butts, including one that had been conspicuously discarded near the door to the garage. This DNA identified as belonging to 5 different unknown males and females. No matches were found for the profiles on CODIS. Detectives were left with the job of collecting DNA samples from all of those connected with the couple. In the coming weeks, they would collect DNA swabs from nearly 40 people and conduct dozens of interviews in an attempt to establish potential leads. It would be a process more complicated than anyone could have imagined. Many of the couple's so-called friends were reluctant to divulge information that could put them on the wrong side of the wrong people or implicate themselves in a different felony. Many had had issues with Johnny, who owed money to people and had a reputation for bragging. And a recent rumor had circulated that Lisa's parents owned a safe containing $100,000, a topic that had been discussed at length during a party just weeks before the murders. Front and center of the police attention was Tiffany Williams, a girl who had overheard the start of the attack. Police would interview Tiffany several times, along with 17-year-old Zachary Burkett, who had gone with Tiffany to the house 2 hours after receiving the troubling call. At the time of the interviews, Tiffany was pregnant to a man named AP. AP was the ex-boyfriend of a girl called Alex Casino. They were names that would crop up again and again throughout the investigation. Tiffany told police that she and Zach had planned to meet the couple that night, which involved getting some pills and shooting some pool at the Straub home. Johnny had agreed to pick them up from East Toledo after Lisa had finished her shift at TGI Friday at 10 p.m. At 10:41 p.m., Tiffany had called Johnny to let him know they were heading out, but would be back in time for their lift.
Let's talk about talking to Johnny and Lisa. Was there supposed to be a party?
No. No party.
There wasn't supposed to be a party.
No,
They didn't invite anybody else over.
No, it was a last minute, hey, do you guys want to come over and play pool?
Okay.
A last minute thing. Nobody knew we was going out
And
there.
what time, do you remember about what time you guys were, was this on the phone?
Yeah.
All right, or texting?
No, it was we were on the phone.
But you're texting too at the same time?
No.
I mean, if you're not on, okay.
No, I had texted Lisa while she was at work because we had talked to Johnny, and Johnny said they were going to get pills when Lisa got off work. And I was like, can you find me one and I'll give you the money back tomorrow. He said he had to ask Lisa, so I text Lisa's phone. That's where the texting came in.
Okay.
Then by the time Lisa got off work, which was at, I'm guessing 10 o'clock, Lisa had texted me back and was like, you know, I thought you was a friend. And then that's when I called Lisa, like, no, you took that in the wrong way. It wasn't nothing like that.
Tiffany is referring to an argument she had had with the couple 3 days earlier over drugs.
I want to go over that conversation again in detail.
That's fine.
All right. You called Johnny on the phone. Mm-hmm. How many times did it ring, you think? Remember?
Once or twice.
Okay,
He
1 to
picked
2
it right up.
rings. Picked it right up. You know it was Johnny.
Yes.
How long of a pause before he said anything?
He didn't say hello.
All right, so he never said anything.
Never said hello.
So, all right, so you're on the phone. How long before you hear anything on the phone? What did you?
Like, as soon as he picked it up, he didn't say hello to me, but he was like, bro, what are you doing?
All right, I want to get this down again. Bro, what are you doing? Okay.
Okay, and he said that approximately 3 times.
Okay.
Then the
All right,
next-
let him give me his voice. Was it, bro, what are you doing? Or, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah, just like that.
Well, he sounded
Yeah.
pissed?
Yeah.
Did he sound scared?
No.
He
Not
just
scared.
sounded pissed.
Just pissed, yeah.
All right, so you hear, bro, what are you doing 3 times? Johnny sounds pissed. All right, then what he said?
Then the next thing he said was, who the hell are you?
How many times?
Once. And then that's when I heard the other person in the background, but I couldn't hear what he was saying.
So you overheard a voice in the
A guy
background.
voice.
You sure it was a guy?
Positive it's a guy.
Have you ever heard it before?
No. Well, I really couldn't tell, you know what I mean,
Right.
but
Okay. All right, so then what?
then he asked again, bro, what are you doing? After he said, whatever.
After the 3 times he said it here, he
then
said it again.
Yeah, and that's when this guy was talking, so that's why I couldn't hear him, is because Johnny was saying, bro, what are you doing once again?
All right. Did you hear anything in the background, like a door close, footsteps? It sounded like Johnny was. Did he sound pissed here again? Did he sound pissed here?
Yeah,
Did he sound like he was out of breath?
no,
Did he sound like he was scared or nervous?
no.
Did he sound like he knew them people?
That's why I said I think that whoever did it, he knew.
Did Zach talk about the inside of that house? Did he say anything? Did you ever hear Johnny talking about a safe in that house?
Never once heard Johnny talk about a safe in the house. Never. I never heard Johnny talk about money being in that house. The only thing that Johnny ever bragged about was Lisa's family had money.
Okay.
That was the only thing.
Why had she not called authorities right away? Tiffany told detectives there were drugs in the house and she didn't want anyone to get in trouble. But she hadn't phoned anyone else for 2 hours, despite Lisa or Johnny no longer responding to calls or messages. And there were inconsistencies in her account that bothered police. Tiffany told detectives that Johnny's last words had been, "Tiff, I'll call you back." But she told Johnny's mother, May T, that she heard Johnny drop the phone. He couldn't do both. May T had also told dispatch that Tiffany had been concerned when she'd gone by the house because it looked like it had been ransacked. But officers who had visited the house that night reported being unable to see inside. 17-year-old Zach agreed to take a polygraph test, which he failed. But with no other evidence linking the couple to the crime, police turned their attentions to other leads. Phone records showed that minutes before Tiffany's call to Johnny at 10:41 p.m., Johnny had phoned a close family friend. According to this friend, Johnny had repeatedly told her that he was waiting for a visit from a dealer called Anthony Watson. As it happened, police had also received a tip that Anthony had been implicating his brother Chris in the crime. Police now called Anthony in for questioning.
Did you see Johnny?
No, I didn't do anything.
What time did you start talking to Johnny on the phone?
I probably talked to him in the morning, but when I started talking to him, like, I talked to him every day, all day, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, but when? That's right.
He probably called me in the morning when he woke up, around like 1. But he sleeps in a lot. He's sleeping a lot, so he probably called me around noon 1. And I probably talked to him, and then when I talked to him, I think I talked to him when I was at my mom's house, and then when I left, we talked.
Did you call your mom's house or did you on your cell phone?
My house, probably my cell phone.
So Johnny called in the afternoon. You never saw him.
Not that day.
When did you guys start making plans for him to come over?
I was about to leave my mom's house. Well, he said he was going to leave this one. He's my friend. And then I think about like 9:30 we got home from my mom's house. And then I was talking to him on the phone and about 10:30 he called me and said he was going to come over and it's too late.
Well, we've interviewed a lot of people. I mean, you know, we've talked to people. I mean, you hear it, yeah, they come down and talk to cops. You have a feeling about who might have done this?
The person I thought had done it, I already passed the lie detector test, so, person the only person I could pop up and be like, I think he did this.
All right,
I already passed the lie detector.
all right, you're talking about AP.
Yeah.
All right. Who do you think you'd have done it with?
See, I had no idea.
I think you do have
I know who it was when AP came into my house. You know what I'm saying?
Who was he with?
Well, this is what the word on the street was. He was with Mike Gonzalez and Adam Gonzalez. It was them three.
When they robbed you, AP was with Mike and Adam Gonzalez.
That's what the word on the street was. You know what I mean?
The AP Anthony mentions here is the same AP that Tiffany had spent hours with on the day of the murders and who was the father of her baby.
That's a word that was the word on the street. That was facts for sure. I never even know if AP was actually one did it. That's what he said.
All right. Let's take Mike and Adam Gonzalez out of that picture right there. You got AP. Who else?
I have no idea, to be honest. No idea.
What about Chris?
My brother?
Yeah.
He don't like AP. They tried to kill me. You know, like my brother's not gonna hang out with AP. You know, they came in my house shooting. He ain't gonna hang out with AP. He don't like the kid. He wanted to fight him, and I was like, bro, just leave it alone. I don't know if he's the one who did it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm gonna come right out and ask you. Did you ever make the statement, I think my brother Chris did this? You didn't say that to anybody. So if more than one person would have sat here and told me that Tone said that he thinks his brother would have done this, everybody else is lying?
It has to be. They ain't hear from my mouth. I'll tell you that. People talk, you know?
I know people talk, but I think you're lying to me right now, Anthony.
No.
I think you have a feeling of who might have done this, and the reason you have that feeling is because, do you know something?
I know nothing.
Anthony suggested that police look more closely at another of the couple's friends, a girl by the name of Alex Cosino. 21-year-old Alex was a single mom of two who had been involved in 2 bust-ups with Johnny, one just 2 months prior to the murders. In October 2010, Johnny and Lisa had visited Alex and noticed she had a pit bull puppy that wasn't being cared for properly. They offered to buy it off her and agreed to pay $100, but they only ever paid $50. Alex admitted to police that she had been furious at the time, but they soon resolved the issue. Then, around Thanksgiving 2010, Alex bought a car off Johnny, who, according to Zach, was desperate for cash. Not long after she had made the first payment of $750, half of the full amount to the car had broken down. Alex refused to give more money for the car.
Did you use, with Johnny, pills?
Yeah.
Smoke weed? Did you buy your weed from Johnny? Did you buy your pills from Johnny? Who did you buy your weed from? I mean, I know all the players in this thing.
Yeah,
I really do.
No, I know you do. But see, there's a lot of, like, with this whole situation, I'm from the east side. I'm not from the south side. So, like, a lot of people over there I know, I really don't know. They won't, like, talk to me, they won't have nothing to do with me because I am from the east side.
All right. So, okay, after Johnny and Lisa broke up, you guys sleep together. Did you still see Johnny every so often?
We just, like, in traffic, bumping each other, like, out and about, you know.
Okay.
But, like, we didn't really hang out or nothing like that.
Johnny had some good friends.
Johnny had a lot of good
Right. He had, well, one of his good friends was Tiffany. Did you know Tiffany?
Yeah, you know I know Tiffany. Her child's father's cook at my house. So, I know Tiffany.
Okay.
We don't get along.
You don't get along with Tiffany. You talk to Zach a lot on the phone. A lot.
I know. I call him all the time. It's not the.
What are you guys talking about?
I just
Pills?
tell him random
Weed?
stuff. No, I don't get my pills and weed off of him though. That's what's so crazy. But
So you've talked to Zach a lot
Yeah.
since this whole thing's happened.
it's like Zach's like my family knows Zach. My kids know Zach. Like they love him.
What's Zach been like since the homicide? How's he been acting?
The same.
Same as always?
Yeah.
But I know Zach's got a real bad drug problem.
That's why I'm glad he's doing it right now. I just actually unless they took her letter. There's I wrote back a letter. The whole time, the whole entire time. I mean, basically, I felt like he was put me in a corner because he kept begging me to buy the car. So I'm like, he really needs the money. Really need the money. Really need the money. I'm like, okay. Well, I had to get the money, but I didn't give him all the money, so I told him I didn't have.
Where'd you get that kind of money? Where'd you get $1,500?
Just from like, holidays and stuff.
No.
But
No.
I don't know if it's for him. But so I tell him that, I'd rather wait a week. He just pestering me, will not stop. Like, he's begging me, like he's really literally begging me. And I was Johnny, like, what if you just, take off my money, And so by the time we got back to Zach's house, we reached an agreement that I couldn't have more than $750. And it was a big situation with his mom. His mom is like certified me crazy.
Talking about?
My dad. Yeah, certified me crazy. Like before this happened, she was nuts.
So now you've got the car.
Well, see, that night everything was like, I actually my dad with the car.
Right.
But the next day, things were fine. Like it was a big deal, but it wasn't a big deal because she knows Johnny made the decision.
Well, it was Johnny's car.
Exactly.
He bought that money with his money.
Yeah.
Bought that car with his money.
She was just trying to, free her mom. And I understand though.
She
And
was
I told
looking
her
out to
personally,
make sure that he didn't get
honestly,
taken.
I didn't even want to buy the car. Like, I felt Johnny just would not stop. Like, he was so incessant. I just shut up, please. Take it. Like, I don't even care. I do need the car. I got the money for it, so just shut up, please.
So did you never got it transferred into your
No,
name?
never got switched over.
So-
Because I was gonna wait till I finished paying them.
All right, so you didn't pay it. The rest because
The car, the tires fell off.
did you hit something?
No.
Did you
No.
hit a pothole? Did you hit a guardrail?
No, I didn't hit anything.
How long after you bought the car did the wheel fall?
Like a week and a half. Maybe 2 weeks.
This is after you moved to Berry Street?
Yeah.
Okay.
Johnny's father had picked up the car from Alex and would later testify that Alex had threatened Johnny over the phone. Others would later testify that Alex had also threatened Lisa. Alex willingly gave her DNA to police, which was not a match. She told detectives that she believed someone had murdered Johnny and Lisa over money owed, and Johnny, she said, owed thousands. Anthony Watson returned to police with a scenario he'd heard from a female friend, in which 3 men, including someone by the name of Samuel Williams, had attempted to rob the Straub home. He told police that according to the girl, they had been looking for heroin and the rumored safe.
It wasn't faced, I guess it wasn't seen by face, but it was, I guess it was, from what it was, she told me it was messed up,
Who was messed up?
Max.
Oh, mask up. Okay.
He confronted somebody.
Yeah, he got stuff and walked out. And they pushed him back inside, they brought him back inside, and that's when it all went down in the house. And they couldn't find shit. They couldn't find no safe, nothing. So I guess they started checking in walls and
Anthony told detectives that the woman had also placed herself at the scene of the crime. She was someone that police had already interviewed several times, he said, who had previously slept with Johnny, but now passionately hated him. After this tip-off, a pending felony burglary charge against Anthony would be reduced to a misdemeanor, but any further cooperation he could have offered ended with his life in 2018 when he was gunned down by an unknown assailant. Police now had a breakthrough. The Newport cigarette butt found near the garage door contained DNA evidence that was a 50-50 match for 2 individuals, Samuel Williams and Cameo Petaway, the same Sam, who had been named in the tip-off by Anthony Watson. 22-year-old Sam Williams had been in and out of jail for years. Sam and Cameo were childhood friends and known to share a cigarette or two. Cameo had done several stints in prison and had reportedly been overheard saying he was looking for a big hit. Sam, it seemed, had been trying to turn his life around. He had received his GED in 2010, and by the autumn of 2011 was studying sociology and criminal justice. Police arrested Sam while out buying cigarettes, He would later say that he thought it was for a probation violation over domestic violence charges and had only become worried when he saw the FBI badges.
You know a guy named Johnny Clarke? You don't know John Clarke? You know a young lady named Lisa Straub? No? Don't know John Clarke? Lisa Straub.
You ever been to that house since Springfield Township?
No,
Okay. You sure?
I'm positive.
All right.
100% positive.
All right. Some more names?
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna throw some names at you. You know, you tell me, you know what? Tone Watson? You know Tone? Anthony, Tone. Always hangs out with
I know a couple Tonys, but not, you don't go by Tone.
well, Anthony, Tony, hangs with a dude, mixed dude, Zach, Fat Zach. You know, Fat
Who's the
Zach.
Tonys you know?
Yeah.
I know one from the east side, Skyler, my baby mom's other baby dad, Anthony Wolf.
Can we get to the meat of what we want to talk to you about then? We
Little problem at that house last winter. Did you hear anything about it?
No.
Okay. A couple kids were found dead in there. Young adults. And they were probably the victim of a burglary, a bum rush at the place. You know what we're talking about, bum rush? Somebody just crashes in on you, maybe robs you, burglarizes your house. I mean, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So that's what happened to these young couples.
So how did my name get brought up in this?
Science.
I don't understand how.
Well, remember when these guys respond to the scene, when they go in there, you're a criminal justice major, right? You cordon off the area. Everybody that is involved in that scene goes in and start collecting evidence. Okay? These guys collected a lot of evidence. And they had a lot of evidence tested for DNA. You know what DNA is? Okay, explain to us what you think DNA is.
You, saliva, whatever.
Saliva, poop, piss, skin cells, hair, follicles, all that stuff gives up an individual characteristics. You buy that based on what you've been taught in school.
I'm only doing my, basic courses right now. I'm not doing...
They will tell you soon enough that DNA is like fingerprints. You know there's no two fingerprints that are alike. There's no two DNAs that are alike. Now, when these guys collected a lot of pieces of evidence in there that were involved in this crime, they sent it down to Bowling Green for testing. Okay? Items in that scene came back with your DNA. Okay? How do you explain that? How can we explain that?
No idea.
You've never been to that house. You don't know those kids.
I don't know them people.
And your DNA's in that house. You have no idea?
No.
Do you understand where that puts you? Do you understand where this is going?
In September 2011, Sam pled not guilty to the murders of Johnny Clarke and Lisa Straub. Soon after, Kemio Petaway was arrested and indicted as an accomplice. The entire case for both rested on a small amount of DNA found on a single cigarette butt. But within days, that would change. While being held at the Lucas County Jail, Sam began making phone calls using another inmate's PIN, a tactic to evade police tracking phone calls on specific inmates. The calls were made to Stephen Petaway, Kemio's brother, and the content of those calls were damning. During one call, Sam said, "When you was in the joint, man, we took off, man. That was supposed to be me and you, but you know, Lil Bro had to step up and take your spot, man. Stephen Pettaway responded, yeah, but you know he ain't gonna do it right like I would do it right. In a later interview with investigative journalist Brian Duggar, Sam would claim that the calls were taken out of context. Sam claimed he had been referring to the prostitution racket he had going on with Stephen Pettaway, not the murders. In another conversation, he told Stephen that he'd effed up and was going away for a long time. But this, he said, was a reference to not having sold the drugs that he had in order to afford a decent lawyer. Meanwhile, a woman named Destiny Madrid came forward claiming that she was with Sam the night of the murder.
He was with me that night. And I want to say, I'm not quite sure, but I want to say that we had went to the Bedford Hotel that night. But I'm not sure. I haven't went to the hotel. I don't know if I can go to the hotel and get the records.
All right, what if I clear it up for you? What if I tell you that you're not on video? The bottom line is video.
Right.
So you or Sam are not on that video. You're not inside the bottom.
We were sitting right by the front door. That table by the front door, it was like right there. There's 4 seats. And I don't know who the other guy that was with us, but I know it was me, Sam, and Larry. And then there was another person, but I don't know what his name was. But we were sitting like, there's the door and the table like right there. We were sitting right there.
What was that TV?
The NFC football.
Championship game?
Yeah. It was, I want to say it was a Sunday. To be honest, I want to say it was a Sunday. Because Sundays they normally have karaoke, but I think the karaoke was not there.
Detective Kozak's challenge was a bluff. The bar had no CCTV camera, but despite this, Destiny would never be called on to testify at Sam's trial. Soon afterwards, a jailhouse informant by the name of Eric Yingling came forward. Yingling was being held on the same floor of the Lucas County Jail as Sam and had gained his trust by explaining that he'd already been sentenced and therefore had nothing to gain from being a snitch. Yingling told police that Sam had gone into elaborate detail on his role in the murders of Johnny and Lisa. This is an abbreviated version of his account. He did tell me that he went through the garage and there was an entrance door to the home. Johnny Clarke was on the phone, and he said that he went into the house and they started yelling and getting violent with it. And Johnny Clarke told Lisa to go upstairs, and they started yelling and screaming about where's the diesel, where's the money, and they're telling them there's nothing there. They were searching for the stuff and couldn't find anything. Lisa had gone upstairs and went into a locked room. Sam had to push his way through the locked door to get in there and bring her out and bring her downstairs. They were trying to torture Lisa, for lack of better words, to motivate Johnny to tell them, hey, here's where the money is, here's where the drugs are. And it never happened. On the third time that Lisa passed out, she never woke up. Sam and Cameo, at that point, went into the garage. While they were in the garage, Eric Taylor was inside killing Johnny Clarke. Cam Pettaway, by Sam's word, is the one who had killed Lisa Straub. They did not go there to kill anybody. Yingling also said that they had found some foreign currency in the Straub home, but they didn't know how to exchange it for U.S. currency. The jury trials for the two men took place simultaneously in July of 2012 on different floors of the same courthouse. The defense team in both trials argued that there had been errors made in collecting the evidence at the crime scene and that nothing definitely proved the cigarette butt had been left there the night of the murder or left there by Sam or Cameo. Neither Sam nor Cameo were the source of the DNA found on the duct tape, Johnny's clothing, or the broken cell phone. The prosecution argued that gloves may have been worn. Cameo Pettaway was acquitted on the grounds that the burden of proof had not been met. The prosecution of Sam Williams, however, had not only the DNA evidence, but the jailhouse phone calls and the testimony of informant Eric Yingling. Detective Kozak testified that the information about the Iraqi currency was not public knowledge and something only the killer had known. On July 27, 2012, a jury found Samuel Todd Williams guilty of 2 counts of aggravated murder, kidnapping, and burglary. He was sentenced to 2 life terms without the possibility of parole. Justice had prevailed. Or had it? In 2021, a deep dive investigation into the case by journalist Brian Duggar explored the various holes in the case against Sam Williams. Duggar revealed that information about the Iraqi dinars had been public knowledge as early as 3 days after the murder. It was mentioned on CNN. Yingling later admitted that his wife had researched the case online. During Sam's trial, his alibi for the night of the murders and the evidence and affidavits supporting that were not made available. Destiny Madrid had been arrested for obstructing justice shortly after her interview with police. Sam maintained in his interview with Duggar that he was at the Bottom Line Bar on the night of January 30th for a friend's 21st birthday.
I know that I was at the Bottom Line Bar watching the Pro Bowl with a few other people, which one was Destiny Madrid, the girl that got arrested on my case. My cousin Larry Gilhouse was there. Eddie Flores was there. And there was other people that was in that bar, obviously.
Sam also claimed that phone records showed that his phone pinged off a cell tower near the bar at 10:27 p.m., 20 miles from the home of Lisa's parents, placing him far away from the scene of the call that was overheard by Tiffany at 10:41 p.m. The call was to Destiny, who was on her way to the bar. But Sam admits that he had at least 3 cell phones at the time of the murders, and there was no proof that the number he refers to was his. About one thing there seems to be a consensus. It would have taken more than one man to overpower Johnny and Lisa. Curiously, Cameo Petaway's cell phone did not receive or send any messages or calls from 6:35 p.m. on January 30th until 12:59 a.m. on January 31st. Journalist Brian Duggar is pushing for police to use more advanced DNA technology to help identify the other perpetrators in the attack. One person in particular, he suggests, has not shared all that she knows with police. That person, he says, is Alex Cosino. Alex was the only person who knew both Sam Williams and Johnny Clarke. Alex had known Sam since she was 13 years old and considered him as a brother. Prior to their arrests, Alex admitted that she hung out a lot, very often, with Sam and Cameo. During her court testimony, she admitted to sending this threatening message to a girl in the early morning hours of February 1st, just 2 days after the murders. Paraphrasing, "You don't know me. I do this kind of thing. Watch the news. These people get duct taped and tied up and left for dead. You should have asked me, and I would have told you who I am. Period." And there are others too. In September 2016, Johnny's parents, along with police veteran Frank Ramirez, were convicted of hatching a plot to kill Tiffany Williams after firing shots at her from a car. Tiffany claimed in court that she had been stalked and harassed since the night of the murders. Meanwhile, friends and family of both Lisa and Johnny were left to pick up the pieces.
I feel numb to the whole situation. It's been very tough on me. Again, she was my best friend, so I've kind of just...
And for parents, there's no respite from the pain.